That is
That
indeed.
is that is what we do.
I'm sorry. Take two. Sorry, Casey. I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is indeed what we do. Ooh, flying fish. Anyways, greetings, fellow storytellers. It is I, Tiki.
And I might hit my head back there, but I'm sure you don't care. Hey, how's it going? I'm Lazy Dude, also known as Ken. But other way around, actually, Ken, also known as Lazy Dude. But anyway, we are here to talk about the pre-merge of Survivor 43. And
Indeed.
it's been an interesting journey so far. I feel like this season has kind of been on a slow burn. I mean, it's not like the episodes haven't been interesting necessarily, but I feel like it's all building up to this possible merge that we got coming. It looks like a merge. It's probably going to be a little bit of a fake out a little bit, but from all intents and purposes, it seems like an early merge though. Tiki, very early. 13 people still left in the game, I believe.
I'm pretty sure we've merged at 13 people. I'm not exactly sure if we've merged it after just 5 episodes, though. This feels like the fewest amount of pre-merge episodes ever.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe they have a new trick up their sleeve. Maybe it's not the time travel twist. We know that's not
Well, we
returning,
know
but
the
maybe they have
hourglass
something.
is not coming back,
Yeah,
so
we know it's not coming back, but maybe they have something else up their sleeve.
mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see. But still, this is a good point to catch ourselves up on all the characters that we have seen so far, and just check it. Casey wasn't able to join us. He's just gotten back from a trip to Korea, I believe.
The good
Uh,
Korea.
Yes. And it's totally up to your interpretation of which one that is. But in any case, he's still acclimatizing to everything, so we're just gonna let him sleep, and he needs to catch up anyway. So we'll let him do that. And we'll talk about it, and we'll see him in the next episode of this. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the boots that have been gone first. I guess we're going to talk about in order. So the first boot from Vesey, Justine. I gotta say, I was disappointed. I really thought Justine had game, and I think that's probably why she was kicked off. But uh, I thought she had game, but she apparently not too much, too much.
I got to be honest with you, just like as a character, I just didn't really get a ton from her. Like, she was always just like episode one, she was pretty much just Noelle's sidekick. And I think she was basically like a sacrifice to Noelle's story. And that's all she
Mm-hmm.
was really ever going to be in the grand scheme of things. So, I don't know. I didn't necessarily see like the vibes of her being a potential mastermind. I thought she was honestly like a little
Hey,
bit sloppy with stuff
yeah,
like how she was like so actively like, Jesse, I'm paranoid that you're not going to go with me.
yeah, that was not a great look for her. She's like, I feel like you're lying to me. It's like, I mean, you got to make your people feel comfortable no matter what. And yeah, you didn't really do that. We didn't get too much of her, but I had high hopes, but she didn't live up to them. But
I think the
yeah,
most memorable thing about her is just the whole conversation of like, oh, people call me a guy all the time. People think my name is Justin. I'm like, really?
I don't know who is looking at her and saying, "Oh, it's a dude."
I
Uh,
know, right? Okay, NECA. I actually really liked NECA. And she basically placed about where I was expecting her to. But I
mhm.
think she had a little bit more social game than I was expecting. She very much seemed she like in spite of her like it's kind of funny how like I feel like at the beginning of the season we were pretty much bombarded with the sob stories, and
Mhm.
NECA's story just like man, she kicks every other story's ass, dude. It's like, you
Yeah,
know,
it was nice. She was a character that I never ever really felt like she had a chance to win. She
mm,
never was gonna have the right footing. She was just gonna be. I was actually kind of shocked that not shocked that she went home, because I felt like Noelle had the event with the Steel Boat, which we'll get into later. But I felt like I was surprised that Cody and Jesse turned on her, just because I felt like they gave all the power to Dwight and and Noelle. So yeah, I was kind of a little shocked when it happened, but not that it happened, but in the way it happened.
Yeah, I
I
hear
think
you.
she
I hear
has.
you.
I think she has no real. She didn't. The only mistake she made is she didn't have as strong as strategic relationships. I bet she had the best social relationships out of a lot of the people. But I think it's the same with Mariah in the first episode. She was not necessarily garnering the best strategic relationships.
Well, I mean, and we just clearly like there's very, very hard evidence that she was pretty bad at the challenges.
Yeah, that
Especially when she
didn't help.
volunteered to put herself in the clutch position. So,
Yeah, that didn't help at all. And they seem to be doing pretty well without her. I remember we were watching. My wife and
ironically
I we
enough,
were
yes.
watching this. She's like, "Wow, NECA really was holding them back. They're doing great." But
All right.
yeah.
So let's move on to Coco. I actually think it's really interesting how this pre-merge broke down, where it's like, we start with a Baka tribal, and Baka very much seemed to be the tribe that was headed down the train wreck status, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't necessarily get it together in terms of their dynamics. I'm very much expecting a Tan Dang style implosion on their end.
You know what they kind of remind me of? They're like if Kasaya was a pre-merged tribe.
I could see that.
They're all divided. They're all over the place. No,
Mhm.
some people are being dumb when they think they're being smart. Some people, I mean, it seems like almost everybody's being dumb on that tribe, really,
Right, right.
except for Owen, who surprisingly we were all a little worried about him after the first episode, but surprisingly he's placed himself fairly well. And I think it's a good spot for him because I think Owen's biggest problem was if he was the leader of this group, if everyone viewed him as a leader, I think he'd be viewed as a huge threat. But now he's in the position as either a follower of the guys or a follower of the girls.
I think he's
You know,
probably
he
the least threatening person in that whole tribe.
I know, but I think he has the most room to maneuver out of
Mhm.
everybody on that tribe. And I
All right.
think
Anyways,
that
we'll get to that tribe soon.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
what I was saying is like then we got Bessie going twice in a row, and we're thinking like, oh man, we're never gonna see Coco go, and they go twice.
Yeah.
So it's like I
Yeah.
like how evenly the pre-merge was spread out as far as that goes. But Lindsay, I don't know about you, man, but Lindsay was a shock.
I thought they were setting up a huge red herring. It
Mm-hmm.
made it like because it was like, okay, it's an obvious boot. So what are we gonna do to set up the obvious boot? Oh, make it like Lindsay's paranoid. It probably happened like 5 minutes on the island, but we'll make it look like a big deal, and then Geo goes home anyway. But no, when Lindsay was gone, I was shocked. This was the first like really shocking vote of the season. I was like, wait, what? Especially because Coco didn't go to tribal at
Mm-hmm.
all throughout the season. But I felt like Lindsay was one of the few characters that we really had built up on Coco. We did Carla, and we did a little bit of James, and we saw a little bit of the Gio Ryan bromance. But like Lindsay, I felt like we got a good read on her and what her position was, and all of a sudden she's just gone, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Did you
it
see
felt
that?
like a really big chess piece being taken off the board very early.
Did you see like Peridium did like his video like the day before that episode airs of his like who are the
I
true
did.
contenders, and she was like in the top three. I don't know, and she's just gone.
No,
It's
she
like
was my top contender going into that episode. I swear to God, I was on the same
I
wavelength as them.
and I don't think you were crazy for thinking that. And it
Honestly,
was
what really
just
put me over the edge with her was the confessional in the first like 5 minutes of the season where she's like, "I've only got one shot. What am I going to do with it?" Well, apparently, throw it away over paranoia,
blow it,
Lindsay.
blow it all up. It's like what's his name? Um,
I
Mad
honestly think
Stan
she's a
in
pretty
Batman
decent
Begin
second
or
chance
Batman Beyond.
contender.
Blow it up, huh?
So,
What'd you
I
say?
said I think she's a pretty decent second chance contender. I would vote for her on a second chance ballot.
I feel like it's too early, unless they were doing something like first ones voted off of your tribe. I always thought they should do something called like Survivor So Close So Far, where you have one tribe of people who almost made it to the end and one tribe of people who were the first ones voted off of their tribe. I could see her making a season like that, but I don't know. I feel like it's too early. But yeah, I was shocked. I just didn't see it coming, and it's one of those things where it seems like she really only has herself to blame. Like, although I will say one thing. I will say one thing. Everybody after this move happened was like, "Oh, this is such an amazing move for Carla. Carla is so smart in doing this." And
Mhm.
I'm just like, no. Not that it's a bad move for Carla, but this is the best move for James. Because at that point, James had the option. The guys trusted James the most, and the
But
other
we will
girls
talk about
trusted
James,
James.
my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, we will. But I was like, no. But everyone was saying it was a bad move for James, and I was like, what? Oh, just because he was close with Lindsay, now he has options to go guys or girls. He still decided to go with girls, but I'm just saying he had the most options going into the next episode.
All right. So Geo on the other end of the spectrum was someone that I was expecting to be the first person voted out of this tribe from
Mm-hmm.
episode 1. And my God, it felt like actually getting him voted out was just like an ordeal, man. Like I am glad he is out because oh God. Um like I'll admit, like it's funny because episode 4, I was like, I don't really necessarily like, Carla's talking about how controlling and domineering Geo's being. I don't necessarily know if I'm seeing it in the edit per se, but then episode 5, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, yeah, oh God, vote
Oh,
this guy the hell out.
it's it's always sad when, but kind of satisfying when you see somebody who thinks they're in charge of the game and they're clearly not. It's like I think I'm running these things, man. I think I'm in control of everything. It's like, oh, Geo, no, you're
I
not.
But like I said, Geo was in at the bottom of that tribe from like hour 1, dude. It's like
There's
that's
like
what I can't wrap
11
my head
days.
around.
Yeah, 11 days of them keeping a secret that he was the first to go, and if Lindsay didn't go all crazy, he would have been gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that they kept that a secret even through that and everything, to the point where he feels comfortable to throwing extra votes to like Cassidy's way just in case an idol is played or something, and to risk his vote, and then to tell Carla about it, about the advantage he gets, which we might uh, we might be done with the knowledge is power advantage. I mean, it could still come back, but we haven't seen this
I'm not putting it past
advantage.
the producers to not rehide it, honestly.
I'm just saying we've never seen it come back into the game after it's been used. So,
But it wasn't
uh
used.
yes, but after it's been put into the game,
Mm-hmm.
it's similar to the way I look at it, it might be similar to the idol nullifier. In Winners of War, we saw Parvati get one, and then she got voted out with it, and then we never saw it come back into the game again. I'm hoping it's the same thing. Hoping it's the same thing where this is a sacrifice we need just to get this advantage out of the game. And let me just say this: I still don't think that knowledge is power is the worst advantage ever. But I feel like on a season, it was worse the other 2 seasons because you had the flippin' stupid code word thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but even this season, you got to wonder, oh, who has all these beats? That's all somebody needs to
No,
say, and then they
the
know.
knowledge of the idol is still going to get out very quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the only person who might be able to keep it under wraps is Carla, because she's the only one who doesn't have anybody else who knows.
Mm-hmm. All right. So on that note, let's go to the other people on the Coco tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Ryan, who I was very high on after episode 1, and my God, I was Ryan. Oh, what are
Mm.
you doing?
Hey, he's
Ryan
possibly made it to
has
the merge.
he has about as bad of an edit as one could possibly have, as far as like basically being low key, like not necessarily invisible, but very, very low vis throughout like 3 episodes. And then all of a sudden, it's just like the edit just shits all over him. That is, oh God, that is not a good trajectory at all. And what's painful about Ryan is that I know to a certain extent that some of what he's doing wrong and some of how he's fucking up is directly because of the cerebral palsy issues that he was talking about. The whole like stutter in his brain thing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that's like the root cause of it, but like I don't know. It's like I feel so bad for him, man. It's like it's like secondhand painful to watch.
Right, Survivor has different types of edits that they show. Some people you get the strategic edit, some people you get like a villainous edit, and then some people like Ryan, all you are really getting is a personality edit.
Mhm.
The stuff that we have seen by Ryan has been him being encouraging with Gio and them having a fun time, him talking about his struggles growing up and stuff. And
Mhm.
with Ryan, I feel like that's all we are ever really going to get. I don't have any confidence that he's going to have the strategic wherewithal to pull any moves off himself. And that doesn't mean that he can't be a part of big moves. I could see, like right now, he's a leaf in the wind. He could float away from Coco to any other group. He does not
Totally.
necessarily need. But the problem is, he's a big physical threat as well. Like out of everybody we've seen, like he has been the biggest challenge beast out of all the challenges, even though he technically threw this challenge, which he
Oh,
didn't
I don't
throw it,
even want to
right?
get into that, dude.
He, he messed up and he's pulling a Philip Shepard, but I was like, I
Mhm.
totally did that on purpose. That's my read on that, anyways. But yeah, I feel like unless somebody picks him up as a number long term, I feel like he's in trouble early on.
Totally. All right. On the other hand, though, James, I absolutely think is everyone is just hyping up Carla, hyping up Carla. You know what James's opening confessional was? Playing
Beat a
like a
pawn.
king when they think you're a pawn. And that is exactly what James is doing. So
Yeah,
right now, James is my winner pick.
it's a good pick. It's a good pick. I don't change my winner picks. My winner pick is Jesse, but is I don't change early on. But if I was to pull an audible, I might go with you right there with James. He's in the good position. He's good with everybody from what we've seen. Even Ryan said that he trusts James the most. I mean, obviously that's damaged a little bit after this episode, but I feel like he could James could still scoop him right back up. And I feel like we've seen him do good with Noel and with
Mm-hmm.
Owen on those other tribes, and I feel like the guy that's a dangerous player that you don't necessarily see as the dangerous
You
player. I
do
think he's
not see
doing
him coming at all. Yeah.
I
And
think
he
he's
is
very
just a
disarming.
likable presence that you actively want to keep around.
And yeah, and I think that hiding behind Carla, like, don't get me wrong, Carla's playing a good game. She's 100% playing a good game, but she's playing a visible good game. When people
She's
talk
playing
about the
very
previous
aggressively. She's
votes,
like the Shanna this season.
yeah, when people talk about the previous votes, they're going to be like, okay, who orchestrated that?
Mm-hmm.
And all it takes is James to say, oh well, Carla, she didn't think
I would
that
wager to
Lindsay was
say James
trustworthy.
had just as much, if not more, to do with the votes than Carla did, but he is absolutely in a position where he can very much hide behind Carla for sure.
And yeah, that is the way I think to play modern Survivor is you don't want to be the person in front. You want to be the second in command right behind them until the end where you knock them off at the last second and then take the win for yourself. Because then after that, once they're not there in the end, you can take just as much credit for their moves as you did if you
Mhm.
played the same part in them. As long as they're not there at the end, taking the main credit for you. So, yeah, I'm all on board on James. I feel like he's in a really good spot. Maybe a player like Carla could sense something like this coming. We'll have to wait and see. But it all really depends on the way this merge turns out. But in any case, like no, James is a really good spot. Cassidy,
Mm.
unless you had anything more to say about James.
No, I'm good. Yeah, so let me just say, like Cassidy, I'm so damn attracted to her. Like, I'm not even like the type of guy to like, be physically attracted to women like that. But man, like as soon as she whipped out her glasses, dude, forget about it. That's my weakness. But anyways, I my read with Cassidy is I think if she is not in the um I'm sorry, in the Tory spot, you know, if she's not the merge boot, which I think her editing archetype very much could be that. She takes me as that type of player. But if she is not that, I think she could do a lot of damage. I think she's very much kind of playing a similar game to Carla, or to James, as far as just hiding behind Carla. Carla, I
Well,
honestly don't have a ton to say about. I honestly think she's getting a little bit overhyped, and I think the whole thing about wanting to target Cassidy, that to me was a little bit of a red flag of like, okay, like Carla might be playing a
mm,
little bit too aggressively at this point.
well, it would have been a mistake to go after Cassidy because then
Oh,
it's a
absolutely,
4-4 with
especially with
Gio and
how poorly
Ryan.
Gio was playing, dude.
I think though, well, no, I was just saying because then it's just James and Carla versus Gio and Ryan. Then it's a
Hmm.
4-4. Then you've lost control of
Exactly,
the
yeah.
tribe. But I think I wonder if Cassidy is getting a Lindsay like edit that we saw last season. You know, like throughout most
Hmm.
of the pre-merge, we didn't see anything of Lindsay except for a little bit in the first episode. And I think
I want
Cassidy's
to say
been pretty much
Cassidy's
the
been a
same.
little bit more visible than she was in the
Well, in
pre-merge.
in these last two episodes, but that's because Coco's gone to more tribals.
True, true.
And but I wonder if like she's gonna have like a big story to tell later on, not necessarily a winning story, but a big story to play down the road. I have a feeling like Cassidy is not necessarily gonna be one of those, like pretty girls that just follows all the way to the end. I think she's gonna try to make her move somewhere, and we'll have to wait and see if it pays off for her.
No, I absolutely think like her edit like already has proved that she's not just gonna be one of those like, you know, like the dumb blonde girls from Russell's Alliance, you know, like no, absolutely.
Hmm.
So okay, Carla, I don't have a lot to say about her other than like I said, I think she's getting a little bit overhyped. I think most people in the community are like convinced she's gonna win, and I can kind of see the red flags in her edit a little bit.
I I don't know how far. Like, here's my read on this. Of the three tribes, we have three different people who we are propped up to be like the strategic threats. We got Jesse, we got we got Carla, and we got uh Aaron, Eric. No, who's on? Is it Aaron? Am I forgetting her name? Ellie. Is it Ellie?
Ellie, yeah, yeah.
Ellie. That's
I
what
was
I'm thinking.
blanking on
That's
it
right.
too for a second.
Yeah, is Ellie. Ellie. But we've also set up three different. I'm not sure if anyone else knows this. Like three different second in commands for each of those. There's Janine, there's Dwight, and then there's James. And I wonder if how which one of these pairs are going to turn on each other first. Like I wonder if we're gonna have a similar scene to season 42 where all the big threats group together and then
Hmm.
fight at each other. And then but I wonder if like the second in commands also try to team up together too. And we'll have to. I don't know. I feel like everyone has sort of like a captain, but also someone underneath them that is like the little finger that is just scheming. I don't think Justine's scheming against Ellie just yet, as Dwight might be thinking about it in the back of his mind, and James might be thinking about it in the back of his mind. But I don't know. I feel like there's something there. I don't know what, but yeah, no, I like Carla. I think she's good on camera. I think she has a lot. I feel like she could be a little bit more for her beads thing where she got all the beads. She did really good trading and stuff. Although I think she paid the most for her beads, where everyone else just did come on and they got them. Where she had to like trade her socks and her earrings and stuff for them. But she's the only one that has it without anybody else knowing that she has it. And so I don't know how long that's gonna last, into the merge, but we'll have to wait and see. I do share your thoughts that I wonder if we have just been conditioned because of recent seasons to think that anybody with a too big of an edit is
Hmm.
doomed. We see Shan, we see her
It's
fall.
very
So now
possible, yeah.
Shan's doomed. We see Omar last season. He had such a big edit, and then he died. And I feel like nowadays we're just thinking now that anybody who has too big of an edit is
Even back to like a
doomed for
Christian
failure.
Hubicki or something.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I, I mean, if we go, the last big character who won while being a big character was Tony in Winners at War.
Mhm.
But that's because Tony is always going to be a big character. But besides that, it's like I
Oh
think
God!
like
Besides that, who was like a
Tommy was like kind of an obvious like winner type, but he wasn't like
he wasn't a
that.
big character though.
No, he wasn't a big character, but he like we obviously always checked in on him
Mhm.
strategically and stuff, so we always knew that. I don't know. I think that's the thing of the new era is like we see a lot of the big threats like not making it to the end, and I think that's kind of like the drawback of hiring of getting too many fans.
Mhm.
Like when you get too many people who know the game, they're gonna play the game well. And when everyone's playing the game well, sometimes you just end up with the most mediocre of the players left at the end because all the good
I
ones get
honestly think
snatched up.
every season they should throw in at least one or two like Keith Nail type players. Those are like
Well,
some of my all-time favorites. Just the
I
people who have no idea what they're doing and are just absolute wild cards for everyone
well
else.
the funny thing is I think they did have a few of those this season, but a couple of them are already gone. I think Mariah was that type of player. I think that NECA was that type of player. The only ones that are left, I think, are Gabler, who's pretty clueless, and Cody, who is not completely clueless, but still a little clueless strategically. But anyways, I think that's yeah, Carla, I still think yeah she's gonna have her big thing cut short, but I think she makes some splashes before they get to the end. That's what I think.
Okay. All right, so on to Vessi. I I'm still a little bit annoyed by Cody, but Cody did get a big cooldown this last episode, where he got challenge focused, but none of his tribe got focused on at all outside of Jesse, who went to the the summon.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, he
so
cooled
I
down
don't
in the
know.
episode where Vessi's barely in it.
Right, exactly. But the thing about Cody that did kind of warm me up to him, like the first moment where I was like, okay, this guy, like, he's not just a total, like, 24/7 party bro douchebag, was his reaction to the NECA vote out. Like, just
Mhm.
him taking it so hard. I was like, all right, this guy's
Yeah.
actually, you know. But that being said, I do appreciate how people in the cast are calling him out for essentially appropriating Hawaiian culture, which honestly, I think I figured out that is exactly why I was so annoyed with him after the first episode. Because I respect the hell out of Hawaiian culture, but I'm not gonna like shape my life around it the way that this dude has. So I
Yeah.
don't
Chill,
know.
dude. You're from Iowa, as Carla says.
Right. Like I think there's definitely a bit of a poser quality to Cody with that kind of
Oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think so. I think so too. But I've actually really enjoyed Cody throughout this whole
Most
thing.
people
Like
have.
as we've said, like he is clueless in a lot of ways, but I think he actually has a little bit mind of the game. I don't think he has mastermind qualities here. I don't know. Some people are looking at him and they're giving like Tony comparisons, like what then seeing if he's like wondering if he's going to be that crazy mastermind that will all of his stuff will seem stupid in the moment, but then afterwards you say, "Oh, that's a bad idea." Um, it's weird because I was kind of with him on the like I kind of was with him on the idea of keeping NECA around because I feel like you've made your bed, you have to sleep in it now. I'm actually sad that we didn't see Vessi go back to Tribal Council because Jesse with no vote,
Mhm.
Cody with an idol, she has a steal vote. Actually, no, Baka was the one I was really wanting to see go back. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, no, I think he's a fun character. I'm glad he's on the season. He's enjoyable. I don't necessarily think he has a great chance to win, but I think he's going far in this game.
And I
I
do
said it
think
from the
that just
start.
like the distribution of screen time with him has been a little bit wonky, honestly. Like the first episode, I was just like already, I'm like, oh my god, they are shoving this dude down our throats. And after the first episode, I think it hasn't been as bad. But I mean, like the first episode is when you should be introducing everyone, and I feel like the first episode, hell, is one of the first times where it's not a not a winner. It's not like not a quote, but
Mhm.
like an actual, like it's literally like the tattoo. I don't know, like that alone, like that episode title alone is like one of the few things that actually to me kind of indicates that he could potentially pull it off, because it very much seems like the story of the season to some extent is being told through his point of view.
I think it's mostly told through Jesse's point of view. That's who I feel like we've been following the point of view the most. He's the one that's been like the reason Justine went home was because of him. Cody was pleading to Jesse to keep NECA around, and he decided to vote NECA out.
Mhm.
I think for the most part, Jesse has been the focal point of the Vessi tribe. And I think he's done fairly decent, and like out of all the tribes going into the merge, I feel like Vessi is the one that's going to be the most unified.
I would agree, yeah.
Because I feel like if they kept NECA around, and I was kind of for it, but I think like maybe in the long run it was the right decision. If they kept NECA around and then let's say they still won the other two challenges, I feel like then you're gonna have like Dwight on the outs looking for a way out right away. Where
Sure.
I don't feel like I feel like I feel like Noelle has Dwight and Cody and Jesse are a pair, and that way they feel safe in this four because nobody has the advantage over each other. I mean, in fact, both sides think they have the advantage over the other because Cody and Jesse have an idol, and Noelle and Dwight have the steal a vote. So I feel like both of them are kind of feeling safe in this four. So I think at the merge, it's going to be who breaks first, Baka or Coco. That's what I'm feeling.
I'm pretty sure Coco's going to break first, considering I don't think Ryan is going to be too loyal to them after the
Yeah,
last
but
episode.
Baka has been boiling.
No, you're right. You're right. All right.
We'll talk
Anyways,
about Baka when we get there. What do you have anything about Jesse?
I mean, I think Jesse has been a very, very consistent narrator. Um, if I am reading his edit, I would think that he is more in line with the journey edit than a winner's edit. But I don't know. I very much like him. I think that honestly, this is going to sound maybe a little weird, but what I like about Jesse as a character, this is going to sound kind of weird considering just how how he has one of the more compelling backstories. But like nowadays in his day to day life, I like the fact that he's very much embracing the fact that he's just an average guy, like he's just a suburban dad who doesn't get out and socialize much. And I honestly think in confessionals, Jesse has a really infectious laugh, and like the way he kind of like laughs to himself as he's
Mm-hmm.
describing these absurd situations. And like I like the fact that he isn't even necessarily the most camera ready person out there, as far as like just like, because people like Cody are like born to be on this show as far as being in front of the camera. But I
Mm-hmm.
find he's almost kind of got like this awkwardness about him that I find endearing in his in his delivery.
Yeah, it's funny because like the preseason, I thought he was going to come in with a lot more bravado.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because he was talking about like I've studied voting patterns. That doesn't matter who you put me up against, even if they've been on 4 times. I know more about voting than anybody else.
Oh,
And I've
God.
never really seen that. I haven't really seen that come out of him. I think he's probably keeping it more low key. I mean, you can amp it up in the confessionals. Who cares? I feel like I've actually like I like Jesse from the start, and he's still my winner pick. I wish I got a little bit more of the personality out of him. I feel like we've gotten a lot of him like stone face. I want to, and you
Mm-hmm.
said yeah, he does have a infectious laugh and all that, but I want to see like what his joking nature is a little bit more. I don't know, but I like his edit, and I like my chances of him being the winner pick. So, but yeah, oh.
All right. Now I'm just gonna kind of lump these two together because honestly, I think Noelle kicked ass in that one
Mm-hmm.
episode. In the one episode, and other than that, she's been invisible practically. Um, like not necessarily invisible, but very low presence. And I loved her in that one episode. I like it wasn't just the fact that she is just a comp beast, like, you know, with or without the leg, she is a comp beast.
Yeah.
But I also do think she's got an infectious personality. I really like how she's very sarcastic with the leg joke thing, and that's actually like a running joke. I like how self-deprecating she is with that.
Yeah.
But I just wish that her screen time is very choppy. And honestly, I feel like it was a little bit circumstantial in the one episode because she did go to the summon.
The summit. Yeah. I liked her a lot. I said this is like she's the first person that was an amputee that got a strategic edit.
Mm.
That's what I said. Like her episode, the episode you're talking about, we got to see her strategy. Who is she was going after? Why she was going after? What she was playing with Owen and James. How she was playing them and getting the manipulation to let them get her. And we saw what I like it. We also saw the other people tried her strategy. Gio went into this episode thinking he's safe, saying, "Oh, I'm on the chopping block. I'm gonna go home. Oh, poor me." And the other guys went and risked it anyway. And I think that goes to show that she did a lot better job fostering the alliances and making people feel good about letting her have the advantage.
Gio was
She
basically
made
just guilt tripping them.
yeah, it's like, oh, if only somebody would give me an advantage, I would. I
Your
also
impression
love
of
that he's like,
Gio is basically Desi Arnaz, and I love it.
I also love that he's like, I am so on the outs. I'm going to go home tonight if I don't get an advantage. And he's lying, but he's right. That's the
Right,
most
right.
right Gio has been this whole season, and he doesn't even know it. Um, but yeah, so I think that she is a very strong player, and you're right. We haven't got to see a whole lot like strategically. The only thing that we've really seen from her is her relationship with Dwight. Her and Dwight are a pair. They've sealed it. They've said it. We've seen it on camera. That is either leading to a betrayal in the future or a team that is going to have a heartbreaking split, or maybe they do go all the way. We'll have to wait and see which is which. Will go on to say that I was the only person in the world, it seems, that thought that Dwight had a chance to play well. And even though he's not playing like fantastic, I mean, honestly, the problem with these tribes being split into six and there's so many is like there's not really a chance to play too big. It's just
Mhm.
keep yourself safe. That's your only
I'm
real
honestly kind of at
strategy.
the end of my rope when it comes to three tribes myself. I think we could. I think the show would benefit from going back to some larger tribes to give the players some more breathing
Good.
room.
Yeah. Yeah. Let the people who make the
It gives the
really dumb
story
mistakes
some
go
more breathing
home.
room too, as far as the edit goes.
I know they're so say, well, the do or die has to be like a 1 in 6 chance. What if everybody uses it? Then it won't be 1 in 6. It's like
Okay,
whatever.
first of all, the do or die, I literally forget that it exists on the season. Like
Yeah.
I am
Well, it
thoroughly
hasn't come up.
convinced that that twist is just never going to make any sort of an impact.
Not unless they change it. They need to
Yeah,
change it to where like the odds
like a
get
one
better
in
every
four
time
shot or
somebody.
something like that.
No, I think the odds should stay at 1 in 6, but then they get better the more people use it.
Hmm.
So one person uses it, then it's 1 in 5. Another person uses it, it's 1 in 4. Another person
Ooh,
uses it, 1 in 3.
I like that idea.
And
All
then
the
I
way
think
down to
once
just like the last person who uses it, like it's like a free idol for the first person who does take advantage of it.
no, I think you need to have it be 50-50.
50
It
50.
needs to
Okay,
be
yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
Stop at 50 50.
yeah, you can't make it like, and here's your idol because it's just like, all right, welcome to tribal. Why is everybody running for the do or die room?
Right, right, exactly. I think the only problem with that is that I'm honestly pretty convinced that nobody's gonna play it this whole season. And if it still starts as 1 in 6, there's a potential that nobody would play it again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's too late for this season because they didn't change the rules.
Oh.
but I just because I think the reason it's not being used is because we know that these people saw at least a little bit of season 42. They saw probably 4 or 5 episodes, let's say.
Yeah,
And the early going of season 42 had a whole lot of do or dies. Everyone was drawing the do or die,
that's
and it
true.
never
Yeah.
worked out. And it never worked out. And so I feel like the players' lesson they took away from that is there's no reason it's not going to help me. I might as well just trust in my allies and hope that things go my way because this is not a chance that is actually doing me any good.
All right. So moving on to Dwight, I honestly, I think he's playing like an okay game, but frankly, we're storytellers. It's what we do. And as far as a character goes, I think Dwight is basically an NCP, or I'm sorry,
I don't know.
an NPC.
I think he has potential. I think of the conversation he had with Noel that says, "You and me are number one and number two. I want to
But
work with
again, I'm
Jesse,
not
but
talking
obviously I
strategy
can't
though.
trust
I'm
with him."
talking just purely the edit. I like
Mm.
his character is just a nothing burger for me. Like I don't get anything from him as far as like his actual personality or his backstory or I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
I feel like this show could be a little bit more on personality with these characters. Like I know a lot where a lot of them stand strategically, but I don't really know like who they are as a person.
I
You
honestly think
know,
this season has been kind of struggling with that.
yeah, I think that's one of the main things. I think that's why a character like Carla, who is very obvious about what type of character she is, I think that's why
Right.
people are buying into her story a whole lot more.
Or
But
Cody.
definitely Cody, just because he's just so over the top. But I like Dwight, and I actually think he has a chance to win. I think he's gotten enough
Oh,
of an
I don't
edit.
think he has a chance to win with the edit he's getting.
No, I think he's gotten more of an edit than Noel. He's gotten more of an edit than a lot of these players. Like we've seen his relationship with Jesse, and we see at least that sort of tension building between them, but they're still working together. At least there's a story there that I see going forward for them to cultivate. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see who's wrong and who's right about that. Maybe he's the first one out of the merge. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
All right. And finally, Baka. I really think
Bonkers! This
Baka
what
is
this
just
tribe is.
they are just like they are full speed ahead to being Tending 2.0.
Oh my gosh. Okay, like at first episode, I'm like, I love Ellie. I mean, Casey has her
Uh-huh.
as her winning pick, and I'm like, it's great, it's great. And then she's like, I bet he doesn't know how his idol works.
Oh my god. No, I
You
here's the
you
thing
do,
with
look,
Baka. I
you have
honestly
nothing to do on this tribe. You have nothing to do on this island except menial tasks. You don't think the guy has reread that over and over and over again? You like if anyone's been on a very long car ride with back before there was no cell phones, you were
Oh, totally.
like you were like reading the maps, that were in the car. You were finding every little thing. If there's nothing to do with boredom, you don't think the guy has read this over and over again? It is so mind-boggling to me that they think he is that dumb.
Yeah, the thing with Baka is like for me, unfortunately, Sammy was my original winner pick, but I am kind of like I'm basically taking this entire tribe out of contention because I think that except for maybe Owen, I honestly think that
Owen,
Owen is like the one person who like I don't necessarily and even Owen I think is a little bit middle of the road
he's a dark horse.
as far as the the edit goes. But I think that Janine, frankly, has just not gotten anything, and she wouldn't have gotten anything last episode if it weren't circumstantial. So
I
she's
mean, she
just,
found an idol.
but still, just as far as a character goes, she's a non-entity. We literally know more about Janine's father than we do about her at this point. But
Yeah, I think her character doesn't really pop as well. Ellie's does, but then it's hard to root for. It's hard to root for somebody when they're doing something is so dumb.
mhm.
And you're just like, stop it, stop, stop. just think this through. And and Sammy, to give him credit, like I can see where you at. I think he's a little bit going to be too impulsive for the game, but he's at very least been able to keep a lid on his plans to turn on the girls, and has played very subtly and has
Yeah,
won Gabler over in a way that he is not blabbing and stuff. And
sure,
the reason why
sure.
I think Owen has a better chance with the girls, and I think the reason for that is because I feel like Owen seems more dangerous with those guys. I feel like people will look at Sammy and not look at him strategically, even though he's been playing fairly well. And I feel like people will look at Gabler and not look at Gabler strategically. And then I think people are going to be looking at Owen, where I feel like even though the girls are smaller in stature, I feel like Ellie is somebody you could hide behind, especially with how tight they are as a pair. That is a scarier looking pair, I think, for you to hide behind. So
No, I'm with you.
I don't. But it's funny because they obviously don't really trust Owen that much. Like they were trying to hide the idol as he was walking. Like, hey guys, what are we doing over here? And they're like, don't tell Owen. Oh wait, there's Owen. It was like,
You know what really rubbed me the wrong way about Ellie as well is that confessional she has about Owen in episode 2 where she's saying like he's like the more high maintenance of her 2 kids. It's like that is just condescending as hell, dude.
yeah,
Um I don't know, like Ellie, it's like I do think she's a good character, but for all the wrong reasons. Like she is very much kind of like if she had any chance of winning, I do not think the edit would be pointing like
I mean,
this is going beyond an Adam Klein edit at this point. The edit is just trashing
maybe,
her.
but I feel like sometimes the survivors just got to tell what happened. Like Jenna Maraska wanted to quit the game, and the survivor had to show that part of her story because it was what happened, and yet she didn't quit the game and ended up winning. So I feel like sometimes survivor just has to like, well, this is a crappy thing what happened. We
But they're
can't
just
hide it. It
really
was
hammering it home though. That's the thing.
because it's good TV. I wouldn't necessarily count her completely out, but I do think her. I do not feel as good as her position as we did after the first episode.
And then I guess with Sammy, my concern with his edit has basically been that I totally agree with you as far as like the game logic. I think he's probably played the best out of anyone on that tribe. Um my concern with him as far as the edit goes is I just think his edit is a little bit one note 5 episodes in. It's like we basically know what his plan is. We know that he's lying about his age. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more personal content from him by this point.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that this tribe is going to be Tandang 2.0, and I definitely agree because it's got that same like everybody's had plans, but they've been waiting to spring them. They've been like winding that Jack in the Box forever, and they're just
Right.
like, I'm ready, I'm ready, just
Totally,
got
totally.
started. It's like they just been waiting for it, and now that they'll be at the merge, they'll be like, aha, and everything. I think that and I think that might be a mistake. I feel like survivors have a hard time, like once you've hit the merge, be like, okay, new slate, we need to stick together. What all the plans that we've had in our back of their heads to vote each other out, guys. Nobody is going to look after us but us, sort of thing. But survivors don't really do that. They can't do that, and it's not like I can blame them for it. It's a hard thing to do, especially when you've been because when you try to vote somebody out, you also harbor a little bit of resentment for them. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, I think Ellie's chances are not great. Sammy, I'm not entirely sure what his edit entails. Like part of me is thinking like this is a pretty good edit. He's getting like a better edit than let's say Xander did in his
That's
season.
totally fair.
I
Yeah.
think he's definitely playing a better game than Xander. Which I mean, I gotta give it to him. Like I thought he was gonna be such a dud. Well, not casting dud, but like a strategic dud, and I don't think he is. But I'm just interested to see where it goes. Like the jury's still out for me for Sammy.
And
Gabler, on the other hand,
I
oh
saved the best for last. Let's talk Gabler. I intentionally didn't bring him up until
oh
last.
Palm Frond Lane in the middle of the morning, Gabler. Oh
I've
my
got a hot
goodness.
take. I've got a
Oh,
spicy
oh,
hot take.
let me hear it, Tiki. Lay it on me.
If this season is Gabon 2.0, I could see Gabler bum fucking his way into a Bob Crowley style win.
No, no way.
Okay, hear
I
me
can
out.
see Cody. No. I can see Cody fumbling his way to a Bob Crowley style win. I could not see Gabe. But I'll hear you out. You go ahead.
So obviously the edit is clowning on the guy, right? But we have had some indication, that he, like, the dude is a heart surgeon. Like, the dude is intelligent. He might not be street smart, but he is intelligent. And I honestly think, I really do think he is going to get the one up over Ellie. I think he's going to at least last longer than Ellie. And I think at this stage in the game, I think he's going to be like, who is going to come after Gabler? And I honestly think the man is well spoken enough that if he is in, like, let's say with, like, I don't know, like a Janine and a Ryan or something like that, just like if he's in a group with people who just have not been in a power position, have not played well, I know it's a total long shot. I know it's a total
Here,
long shot.
you know what this is the hole in your argument that I'm going to poke through. The difference is Bob. I shouldn't have done that. That was weird. The difference is Bob Crowley was liked. Like everybody liked Bob Crowley. They didn't think he was strategic, but they liked Bob. They didn't like Sugar, and they didn't like Susie. Everybody's annoyed with Gabler. Even flippin' Sammy is like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, it's hard some days with Gabler. It's
No, that's totally
really hard
fair.
some days." I think that no matter like if he's in the end with Ryan, everyone likes Ryan. If he's in the end with like I can't see anybody that he could beat. I feel like people would vote for NECA over him. Okay, like that's what I'm saying. That's how I feel. Like she came back as some weird edge of extinction that was never we didn't know about, and got to the end with him in a final two. I still think people would vote for her over him. It's yeah, I know. I like he's such fun television. He's a train wreck of a character. His antics are going to destroy so many people's games because I think you're right. No one's coming at like for a guy like Gabler is that type of wild card that would normally go right at the merge because nobody knows what he's thinking. But he's safe at the merge. That
Mhm.
guy's not going anywhere at
I
the
mean, he's
merge.
got an idol for one, so we know for a fact he's not like.
Unless he does some dumb Sandra crap like she did in Winners at War, there's
Uh
no way that he's going anywhere. Like, I did think about like I really wanted Baca to go to tribal council because this left all the chips in Owen's hands. Because think about it, with Janine having an idol, if they wanted, they could make a move on Gabler. He could have said, "Hey Gabler, don't play your idol because then Janine will play her idol, and who knows who she's playing it on, her or Ellie. We got to make sure that we do this right. So you don't play your idol. We'll all vote her. She won't play her
mm,
idol because she thinks we're voting you, and then we'll vote you out. And then he could choose to go either way. It's that like he could choose to vote with anybody. It would all be in Owen's hands. But now it's like Gabler's definitely going to be playing his idol at the merge and it's gonna be. I think Owen now will be waiting to see where the chips land, where they may at the merge. Goes whichever side has the numbers. Oh, you know what I just realized? If they do the split thing, where like half of the group is safe and half of them are not, Gabler could technically not be part of the group that's eligible, and then play his idol the next vote.
huh. But I think the rule is technically that the idol would expire at the tribal council he attends, though.
So that means he could play it on somebody else, though. Like if Sammy
Yeah,
was eligible to be voted for. Yeah,
yeah,
that's an
yeah.
interesting wrinkle because he is attending, he is voting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, I think regardless, unless he actually physically does not go to tribal council somehow, it's gonna expire.
You know what? I was just thinking they might split them into random groups of 6 and then have both of them
I
vote
mean, that's what
somebody
they
up.
did for Fiji, so
I was just thinking because the season started weird, right? It started with 2 hour-and-a-half episodes.
right.
Normally, one of them would be a two-parter or like a 2 episodes together. I wonder if there is a double elimination somewhere here that we're not seeing.
I
Maybe
think there's
that's
got
why
to be
we're
a double
merging so
elimination coming
early.
up because I was surprised. Like we'll usually get one in the pre-merge.
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna be like instead of two tribes or two groups of 6, one wins and one's safe and one's not. I wonder if it's they're gonna be two groups of 6, both will have one person with an immunity win, and the rest will be eligible, but only from those groups. I don't know. I feel like there's some other shoe that's gotta drop for this.
I honestly am kind of dreading a cliffhanger next week.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not.
And on
It's
that
gonna be
note, I do think that we're basically kind of going to have to wait and see how this fake merge thing plays out to even know if we want to like cover the merge next episode or the episode after that, as far as like the podcast schedule
yeah.
goes.
I mean, if we do one extra podcast or we miss something that we should, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll do it when we do it.
All right. Well, I think
I,
that's about it.
yep, yep. It was fun talking with you, Tiki, about this. And here's hoping Casey is back next week and we can go over all the shenanigans that I hope we get into. This series has been a slow burn, but you know what? Sometimes a crazy merge can be just the thing what the doctor ordered. Like you
There,
give
watch
me a
you.
yeah, you give me a crazy merge, and all of a sudden your boring pre-merges is just like, oh yeah, but this is just something you have to get to the really good stuff. So
Unless your name
just
is
hope.
Karamoan. Good night, everybody.
Ooh.